Good morning. I've decided I want to keep some salad in buckets by the back door this year. It just makes much more sense to me practically, because when you decide what you're going to have for your tea that night, you can just pop out the back door and pick the salad. Because I'm usually up at the allotment in the mornings, so when the salads all come up, I have to pick it in the morning and then keep it all day. So I'd rather pick it as I need it. So I've sowed these buckets with seeds. I've got some spring onions, rocket, chard, spinach, and a few other odds and ends. I've got lots of lettuce in the greenhouse which I'll get out when that's ready. It's been so cold, so I hope the seeds germinate. I seem to have pretty hitty-missy luck with getting seeds to germinate when I sow them direct, but we'll see. What I'm doing at the minute is it's still cold. It's just been the coldest April ever, hasn't it? So I'm moving these pots every day, every night, or later on in the day. I put them back up against the house where it's going to be warmer, and then the sun will be across here in the next hour, so they're in the sun from first thing in the morning, to try and keep them nice and warm. So that's why I'm doing that. These buckets, if you've watched our videos from the start, you'll know I bought these last summer or last spring. I wanted to do lots of vegetables grown in pots, but the pots are expensive. It can really mount up. So I found these buckets, I think they were £1 each in Wicks last spring. So we bought masses of them and just drilled the holes in the bottom for drainage. They're not very pretty, mind either, but they'll do the job. As long as I can get some food out of them, I don't mind. Today is the day that I'm gonna show you the results of the compost comparison. When I planted seedlings a few weeks ago in 3 different types of compost, and I'm going to show you the results of that, so that should be quite interesting. So I made a bit of a rookie's error at the allotment this last week. My kind allotment neighbour had given me some broccoli seedlings. They were beautiful, and some kale ones, half a dozen of each, and I pushed them straight in and walked away from them. When I came back 2 days later, the birds had just eaten them. I might have saved them, I don't know, time will tell, but really hammered them. So I was gutted, because it was really the first kind of thing I'd put in this year. I felt guilty on my neighbour as well, and these lovely seedlings that he'd worked so hard to produce had allowed them to get pecked to bits. Anyway, that's what this is about. I've decided I need to get serious about pests in the garden, and I need a good brassica frame. That's what I need, something lightweight that I can move about from year to year. So we found this tubing in the garage. It's I don't know whether you would call it electrical conduit or something, I'm not sure. Anyway, it's plastic piping that you push electrical wires through if you're doing an electrical job. We've got about 10 of these. They're 3 meters long. So we've cut this one pipe into 3 pieces. We've got these attachment bits that go on. We've already had these all in the garage, so we're just going to put them together like that. If I can get it in. Like that, and push them into the ground, and then get a netting to go over the top. Now, as luck would have it, I had my eye on this piece of old discarded netting that's in that dumping ground at the end of the allotments. So Kenny went up to the allotments and dug it out to have a look at it. It is a bit old and ratty. There's a few bits lying around. Some of it I've just chucked straight away. Some of it has got holes in, and I'll need to tape that up or something. But some of it's salvageable. And if I can get a row of these going along, I mean, I think I'll have to buy more netting as well, but I might as well use the free stuff if I can. Also, up at the allotment, we've been getting the borders completely finished. Kenny's dug out the last of the compost heap and strewn that around in the borders where it needed to be. So we should be all ready for planting now, ready for go. If it ever turns up, because the stuff in the greenhouse is so slow with it being so cold. I'm beginning to wonder if I'll ever get anything planted out. So anybody who watched the previous video when I did this will know I planted exactly the same seeds in 3 different types of compost in 3 trays, just as an experiment to see which one would perform the best. Okay, it's results day on the compost. See if you can make a guess which one is which. I used some Home Bargains, very cheap compost. I used a B&Q with John Innes mix, which was the most expensive, and I used my own compost out of my compost heap for one. That's what they look like. So I put all kinds in these trays just to give a little range and view of how things would do. First couple of rows I've got tomatoes, various types, cucumbers, patty pan, celery. I've got some kales going on in there, beetroot, lettuce, spinach, some cabbage, sunflowers and lovage, starting at the front, coming all the way to the back. As you can see, particularly with this one, there's a massive difference. So the results are, this very, very poor one is the Home Bargains compost. I mean, it's pretty shocking, to be honest. The germination's good for the tomatoes. Strangely, it's actually the best germination I've had for the tomatoes. But look at how puny that is. The compost itself must be really nutritionally scant. I mean, they're not thriving at all. So that's, and actually answers some questions for me, because last year I had trouble with the stuff in my containers, getting them to grow well, and I was using this compost. So that answers a lot of questions about why that was happening. This one is the B&Q with John Innes. Nice vigorous growth on all these cabbages and kales and spinaches and what have you. However, the germination for the tomatoes is very poor. You know, half a dozen I've got maybe, in comparison with the Home Bargains one, where almost all of them I would say have germinated. This is the one that I thought would be the best, actually. It was certainly the most expensive one. This is the most interesting one to me. This is my own compost out of the compost bin. The growth there is absolutely gorgeous. These are really strong, vigorous seedlings. I need to get them out of here now and get them potted on. They're so strong. My tomatoes haven't germinated as well as the very cheap compost, the Home Bargains compost, but they're not bad, actually. You know, they're not as bad as the John Innes, that's for sure. There is a lot of weed seeds, which some people pointed out I might get, and I have gotten them, but actually, to be honest, it's not really a problem, because you can tell which ones there are, and if you just pull them out. So bearing in mind this was free compost, and overall I would have to say that this is the winner. My own home grown compost, which is a big victory for me. It's what exactly the result I was hoping for. That one, the John Innes, I'm a bit kind of disappointed in it. I mean, it's done all right for that side, but the germination rate is poor. And the Home Bargains, I'll never use it again. I'm going to pop these back in now. But I think I'll be potting them on, some of them today. I hope you found that compost comparison interesting. Thank you for joining me, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.